Hi, my name's Jeremy. What we're going to do is I'm going to show you how to create a layout a little bit like this. That's a sort of a fake property listing, and we're going to do this in SiteStencil. So let's go over to SiteStencil now, and I'll show you the basics, how to move around, create some objects, and how to hopefully put this together. Okay, so let's go over. Here we are in the tool, and so let's look back at this again. So we've got this kind of area here, which is one listing. We'll copy that to create that, and we've got the sidebar here. So let's create the main panel first, plus the sidebar. Okay, so the first thing we do is go over to Add Element, choose a box. Once you've clicked on the box, then you move over to the screen, and then you can just drag like it's a drawing package, like Sketch or something, and it'll put it in. Okay, now if we look back at this, we're going to have a right-hand column here. So let's get another box, and we're going to put that over here like this. And notice how these things just kind of match up quite nicely. If we look at the widths, we'll see this is 1/3 and this is 2/3. If you want to change it, then you can change them to be any kind of width you want, any ratio of the parent container. If you want to use pixels, then you switch to pixels, and then you can have accurate pixels rather than a ratio. But we want to have a fluid grid here, so we're going to go for a ratio. So let's put that back to how it was. Okay, so we've got our two bits, the left and the right there. In fact, I would say that this bit is a little bit smaller, and this is a little bit bigger. It's probably a bit more like that. Something like that anyway. Okay, that's good to start with. Okay, so now we want two listings. So inside we're going to have one here, and we'll just copy and paste. Now we've selected this one, we can just Control-C, Control-V, and that will copy it. And notice now that we've created a copy, that if we change the color of one, they both change. Okay, if you've copy and pasted one like that, and you want to change one independently of the other, then you can go in and click on the class name here and split element from group. Now if you notice that down here it shows what the class name is, and you'll notice that they've been split, they're now different. You can change the class name at any time to be something more meaningful just by editing this. Okay, so now if we change this, as you can see, it's a different color to the other one. Anyway, that's fairly irrelevant. That's all a bit of an aside, because what I'll do is when I fill this one out, I'll just copy this one anyway into the next one. We don't really want them to be separate behaviors. They can be very similar. Okay, so let's go back. So now we can see that we've got a space on the right hand side and a space on the left hand side that contains the images. So let's do that. So go back here again, go into Add Element, and we're going to create another box in here like this, and then we're going to put another box over here. Let's do that there. Okay, right. So now in this box we want, what do we want exactly? We want, let's think about this. We basically want a column here, we want a column here like this, and then another column underneath, and then another column there. So we're going to do a main, this is going to be where our image goes. Oops. So I had the parent selected when I drew that, so it went into the parent rather than this one. So we can either delete that by hitting the delete key and draw it again, or we can simply drag it into here like that. So that works quite well. There's a little tooltip there to show you. Tooltips pop up. By the way, if you want to know to get rid of some of the tour sort of helper tooltips, the big tooltips, just go up and stop tour if they become a bit too in your face. Alright, so this is going to be our main image, so let's have our image like this, and we want to have some side images here. Right, so let's create that. there. Okay. By the way, because these are all fractions, this is a completely fluid grid. So you can see as we drag this, this is a kind of responsive breakpoint controller. As you drag this, everything changes with it. Right, if we're going to go back here and we're going to draw another bit here. So let's do that. Oops. I don't know what happened there. Let's try that again. There we go. Okay. And we want another one. Or actually, what we're going to do is we're going to do this a little bit differently. I'll explain why in a minute. We have that. We have another box in here. That's going to be like that. And another box like that. So we actually have a wrapper for these two here. Now, this is a padding, so we can change the padding to be as we like here. And this is a container now, so if we just make the container be as small as possible. Now on these two bits, we look back, that's quite similar, so let's just take that padding out there. We're going to have another little box in here. 1, 2, 3. So you can see now we've kind of got the layout that we want there. If we want to save, let's just save to see how we're doing, and you can see we're kind of getting something a bit similar in terms of structure. Alright, now the other thing is we want this to be the same size as this, so that when they change they're all the same size. Okay, so this is introducing the flexbox element of this. So flexbox allows you to align things. So if you hold the command key or the Apple key and drag, then you can actually move things around like this. You can also use the Apple key and the arrow keys to move up and down. Or if I had this, for example, if this was a lot smaller, then I could use this to move the alignment how I wanted, the flexbox alignment. But what we want to have is we want to have this like this. We want to make sure that if we use the stretch flexbox setting like that, then we can see that it doesn't matter what size this is. If I make this bigger, that these two columns here will always be the same size. And then what I can do is if I click on this one and I move this as well, we can make this hopefully stretch too. So now this means that no matter how big this is, they will always stay the same size. If I want to make these smaller, then I just drag that down like that, and then okay, so this isn't going smaller because this needs to be smaller. Right. Basically we've got a nice kind of responsive element there that will now move and change depending on the content size. So if the content in here gets bigger, then everything will just move down. Okay, let's just save that. By the way, saving doesn't work on the test account, so if you want to actually really create your own layouts, then please register and create them there. Okay, so let's put a few pictures in and see what we get. So we can use background images in this instance, but you could use foreground images. So let's see, let's create let's put a background image in there, and let's put some other images in here. Right, so let's just put a few things in here. Oops, no, I didn't want that one, wrong one. That one, and Okay, there we go. Fantastic. So let's look back at our element here. Let us do something else. Okay, so now what we want to do is let's concentrate on what's going on the outside. Notice over here there's no kind of space between this right hand column and this left hand column. So let's just tidy up some of these columns here. So let's remove the padding there. Okay, and with this one here, let's just close the gutter between that and that. And let's make sure that this one doesn't have any background, so that's white. Okay, so you can see that's a little bit similar there. Right, okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to close up some of these as well. So this one in here, let's just take this off. By the way, if things get a bit fiddly, don't forget you can also zoom in at any point. So if we can zoom in and do these things, and they all work as well. We won't use that too much for the moment though. Alright, so this element here, we actually want that to be, we want this element here to be white. So we're going to go in here, we're going to go, oops, there we go, let's make that white. And this one is just going to be blank and inherit the white underneath. And so is this. So already you can see we're getting somewhere there, yeah? And this one here, we're going to close that one up there. Okay. Right. So what should we do next? Don't forget we want this one to be the same size as this one. So again, we'll need to if we use the Apple and cursor keys, we should be able to, if I can get this right. There we go, yes. Sorry, had the wrong shape selected. It was a bit worrying. Okay, so this here, let's just close up that gutter. And so now we're there. This one, of course, is going to be white. So now we have a pretty good representation of what's going on. What I want to do, though, is just let's zoom in a bit and just move in here. Let's just close that gutter up a little bit to be like that. And this one, I think we want to do the same. So, okay, not bad. So here, let's just make that a little bit of a darker colour. Doesn't really matter what we're doing. This is just for you to get an idea of how to use this. Right, let's put in some text in here. So we've got some text. As usual, we can use the Apple and arrow keys to move it around. By the way, if you don't use the Apple key, if you just use the arrow keys, then or try and drag, then that will just swap elements. But if you actually want to align them, then you need to use the arrow key and the arrow key with the Apple command key. Otherwise, you can actually do Apple key and drag. That will also do the same thing. Yep, so we can position this wherever we want. What we're going to do is we're going to have it in the middle over here. Okay, and we want this to be white, so not background, text to be white. Okay, we're going to select a nice font. We've got loads of built-in fonts here. Let's go for something. Let's go for something like, I don't know. Doesn't really matter what it is. Let's go for that. And let's go for the font size. We want to make that quite big. Just click on the track here and drag to get the right font size. And let's put something in here. Some price. I don't know. For example, we can have a bit more text in here. Let's choose some text. Okay, let's move that somewhere. Say, so just double click on the text to start drawing. Right, wonderful. Beautiful house with garden. Text. Let's give that nice. Make that white. And what kind of font should we have for that? Let's have, I don't know, something like that. Okay, let's see how that compares. As you can see, that's looking quite like a faithful companion there. Let's, what we'll do now is we'll just very quickly stub in the rest, so you just get an idea. We put a, say, a subheading here. Let's get that left aligned. Font size small. Text. You know, some kind of grey maybe. I won't bother with the font. You get the idea. And then let's put a paragraph in here. So select the element, drag in there. Again, actually, let's make the, there we go, something like that. I won't bother doing the rest because, well, it's easy to work out how to do it. Oh, actually, I will do this now I think about it, because this does show something quite interesting. If we put a box in here and we cut and paste that, paste it in there. Control C, Control X, and then Control Paste in there. That's gone to the bottom. Just drag it to the top. The reason we're doing this is because what we're going to do is we're going to have another box down here, and we're going to just put that at the bottom. So using the reason is we've got this padding here, so we're just going to have, actually, oh yeah, no, that's right. What we want is to take that out like that and pull that down a little bit. This also, I think this, right, should go there. Let's go back to this. By the way, if you click on different elements here, then you can select different elements in the hierarchy. So we can go back out on the hierarchy and select the larger elements. Okay, so we're going to go in here. You can also use the greater than and less than keys to do the same thing, to move up and down the hierarchy here in the elements. Okay, so we're going to get rid of that. And down here, have a look at this, we could put some other stuff here. I won't bother doing that now. But the other thing we wanted to do is give this whole thing a shadow. If we move down here, we've got borders, border radiuses, shadows, etc. So if I just click on this, suddenly I've got a little bit of a shadow. And can you see there's a little shadow around the edge there? Okay, so I'm quite happy with the way this is going, so let's delete that. Oh, that's a bit too many, so what we're going to do now is let's stretched it. If we go out to this and then just do copy space, then it puts them both in there. Alright, wonderful. So we're going to leave that like that for the moment. If we just save, then I'm sure you can see that it looks pretty similar to what we had before. Okay, what I will do in this space over here is I'll just show you quickly how we could put a map. By the way, at the moment, okay, so there you go. So sometimes you have to move back over here to show the padding. If I move down here, then I'll see, you know, if I had say a box shadow on here, then you see the box shadow controls. The box shadow, you can see that allows you to control your box shadow. Yeah, but we don't want a box shadow. And it's the same with things like border. So we could control a border here, etc. Or by clicking on just one of these, you can select one of them by itself. But we don't want any border on this, so we'll switch that off. Move back over here to, that brings the padding controls up. And yeah, so just make that max. And then what we're going to do is in here, we're just going to add something like a map. Oop, in goes a map. Max. Okay, so we have that there, and then maybe we could have, you know, some text in here along the bottom. You know, something there, whatever. You know, and you can basically style it like this. I won't go into all the details now, but there you go. That's a quick introduction to SiteStencil. I hope that's given you enough to get you started and to you know, basically think about all the different things you can do with this and get your imagination going. All right, thanks very much for watching, and see you soon. Bye.